Hello, and welcome back to another Ubuntu-Linux Tutorials video. It has been 4 years since our last video. I am Rhapsody_MDR.
And I am YoVariable.
Today we will be installing Ubuntu 24.04 LTS via Windows WSL.
WSL.
So right here, YoVariable will be our guidance through this process.
Guess it's time to Linux.
It is time to Linux. Okay, so what should we do first?
The first thing we should do is open Windows Terminal. There's also Windows Terminal.
There's a terminal.
There's a terminal. There's a terminal on Windows 11. It's basically PowerShell.
Oh my god. Okay, so we have PowerShell open.
Okay, and we need to install WSL. For those who don't know, it's the Windows subsystem for Linux. So it's basically like what Windows uses to implement Linux, and then you could use both Linux and Windows simultaneously, and they're kind of like almost interconnected in some sort of way.
True crossover.
True crossover. Okay,
Yes.
The command to install WSL is simply WSL -- install.
Okay, that is not bad. So we're gonna allow this application to make changes to our device.
Okay, installing Windows subsystem for Linux. Just the UAC problems.
Sweet.
Oh, and I also forgot to tell you, once this is done, you're gonna have to reboot.
Alright, that is no problem. That is no problem.
That's good.
So here we go, 90%.
Oh,
there we
now.
go. There it goes.
Okay, it's moving. I guess it just depends on your specs.
Yeah, I'm running 8 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM here with an Intel 520U.
Yeah.
And oh,
And look, it's asking you to reboot.
okay, so now it shall reboot. And Ubuntu is already installed and launching Ubuntu. And installing this may take a few minutes, alright.
Alright, now this is basic. This is just like
Sweet.
a new Linux system, so a username and a password.
Okay, enter my Unix username. I don't know what it should be. Maybe something simple like Ubuntu-Linux.
Okay.
That's not very creative, but that's what we're gonna go with.
Alright, that's fine.
So that is our Unix username, and now we're gonna need a
And
password.
a password.
Where it will
Just set
be.
any password.
There we go. It's my password for every single website that I use.
And you're in. 24.04.1 technically LTS.
Oh my god! So I am in. Wait, no, hold on. Stop. Oh, so I'm in.
Yeah, just do a sudo apt upgrade, sudo apt update type stuff.
Oh my goodness! No way! This is actually
that's Ubuntu.
This is in Windows. This is in Windows. This is in Windows.
This is Windows, and you're running sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade.
Oh my gosh! It looks so clean. Looks so clean.
App doing his work again.
Okay, so what is our first?
Yeah,
course of
and this
action?
is. Oh, the first thing we should do once this is done is check to see if you're on WSL 2, because WSL 1 I don't think has GUI support.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we can try any GUI app.
Yeah, GUI app should work. I didn't have any problems with them. It should just work.
Sweet.
Even without setting up like the X server and then XRDP. Alright. And this is for those who never use Linux before, this is your normal terminal prompt for Ubuntu in this exact format.
So now I'm a screen trader. And how do we check our WSL version?
So you have to exit out of it, so just type exit. Open Windows Terminal again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Terminal.
Yeah, command prompt is basically becoming obsolete.
Oh wow.
And then you're just gonna run WSL-just update. And okay, we're good. So you're probably in WSL 2.
Sweet.
To launch Ubuntu, you're just it's gonna be this command. So this is just your help, WSL help. You can run the distro with WSL-D Ubuntu, but you can also set a default distro. I'm trying to find that. Ah, here it is. So to set Ubuntu as a default distro, you just type in WSL-S Ubuntu like this, exactly like that. I don't have Ubuntu in my system, so I'm not going to type in that.
That's not bad. There we go.
There we go. And to launch Ubuntu, probably you could just type Ubuntu. If it doesn't work, oh, it will.
There we go.
It's that simple.
Just Ubuntu.
And you're in. Once again. Okay. Now's the fun part.
Oh yeah.
With WSL, of course, you could ls and it'll list everything in the directory that you're in. You could CD.
CD, we're gonna go to.
By the way, let me go back to my screen share and boot into Arch. So, the WSL mounts the C drive to this path. So I'm gonna CD to the root. An ls. It's gonna mount the C drive to /mnt/c.
Oh really?
If I ls again, this is the Windows drive.
Ah, okay. So I guess I'll try that out.
So you have program files, you have Windows, and then you have users. So if I want to see my downloads directory, I can.
Okay.
Linux commands do work natively. Basically.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So you basically have Linux integration in Windows. One more cool thing you could do for those who do not know about the cat command. If I get this path right. Okay. Now, okay. Yeah, because OneDrive screwed up my paths. I uninstalled it, so.
Oh my
I
gosh.
know, it's
That's
weird.
Yeah.
So if I cat, for example, if I want to cat this, just this text, I can just do that. See, this is directly from the text file. If I open it, it's the exact same thing. And then inside WSL, you can also run Windows commands. So if I want to open Notepad, so here.
Now that is some really nice integration right there.
Oh, especially. Okay, I guess let's get started with actually doing something with WSL now. Okay, so I guess clear, yep. First thing we need to do is, because I'm an Arch Linux user, I like to boast about saying I use Arch, by the way. So for Ubuntu users, they probably want something close to NeoFetch. For those who don't know, NeoFetch got discontinued 6 months ago. So, NeoFetch is really not used anymore, to be honest. Rest in peace, NeoFetch. But there are some good alternatives. And one of them is going to be this command called fastfetch. If you look on my screen right here, it basically shows everything.
Oh, and it's already installed. Is it pre-installed?
Not by default.
Oh, not by default.
Not pre-installed. Not pre-installed. So
okay.
Install it, you would just do a sudo apt install fastfetch. You're gonna have to add this PPA. Okay. So you're just gonna run these two commands out. Okay. There you go.
There we go.
Right, just add that PPA and Ubuntu Noble. And it's just a sudo apt update. Yep.
There we go.
There we go. Now we should be able to run you can also, just like Linux, you could just do up arrow and then you get one of the previous commands.
There we go. Did I put
down arrow? Yeah.
Oh, bruh. There we go. I forgot to install it.
Alright, if you run fastfetch now, it should work. And there you go!
Ubuntu
Noble. Noble Nombat.
Now this is really nice. Uptime 7 minutes.
Yeah. Running bash 5.2.21. If I go to my system, I believe it's the same bash. Let me double check. Oh no, because for those who don't know, Arch is bleeding edge. Is a bleeding edge distro, so Arch Linux users tend to have more recent packages. So I have bash 5.2.37. So I don't think Ubuntu rolled out a new bash update yet. It's okay. The versions don't differ too much.
Alrighty.
Okay, let's do this. So first thing you're gonna want to do, since or you know what, we could just install a basic. You have to install GNOME.
Like a GNOME.
You have options. Okay, so it depends on what GNOME you want. Do you want a full-featured stock Ubuntu GNOME?
Ooh.
Where it's pretty much like pre-installed, like you were actually installing Ubuntu.
Okay.
You could go with a slightly minimal desktop, or you could go with GNOME Vanilla, which is basically the GNOME that Arch comes with.
Okay, so I believe
Really up to you.
that we should go with the fully fledged out GNOME.
That's valid.
Yeah.
So to do that, you're just gonna type in sudo apt install ubuntu-gnome-desktop. That's it.
There we go.
And yeah. Yep. 1,068 packages.
Wow.
Just let it do its thing. It's installing LibreOffice too, which is interesting.
Well, maybe you can experiment with a little bit LibreOffice.
Yep. Yeah, it's also installing some fonts.
Nice.
Ubuntu Wallpapers Noble. Ooh, that probably has some nice images in there.
Okay.
So the cool thing about WSL is, since WSL 2 is basically a completely native Linux kernel, you could, if you want stuff from Ubuntu Noble, like, I don't know, some of the wallpapers, you could just get them directly from Ubuntu, and then they're completely legit.
That is great.
Extract them from Ubuntu. So if you like the Ubuntu Noble wallpapers that come default, you can just get them.
Yep. Boop.
That is interesting. It's installing the Snap version of Firefox. That's thought it would install the dev version, but it's installing the
Mm.
Snap version. That's interesting. I don't use Snap too much, so this is definitely something else. But Flatpak I think is better
Flatpak is awesome.
because Snap depends on systemd, which is an init system that some Linux distributions have. Arch does by default. For distros that do not have systemd, Snap packages will not work. Because snapd, which is the daemon of Snap, needs systemd to function. It's kind of like a dependency, if you will.
Okay.
So for those who like use Void Linux or Puppy Linux or I don't know TinyCore Linux, I believe no one uses TinyCore. To be honest.
My goodness, TinyCore.
For pretty much any distro that doesn't have systemd as its init system, then Snap basically won't work until you install it.
Here we go. 2% installation, 3%.
And this is just, well, DPKG doing his job. Oh, it's also installing the Thunderbird Snap. That's interesting.
Ooh. So,
Thunderbird is an email client.
Okay. Not bad.
I personally would just use the web version of Mail. You can just put in your browser to do that. But if you prefer dedicated email clients, by all means use Thunderbird. Just have to set it up. Yep, this looks like Ubuntu to me.
Ubuntu 20.04 LTS. Level 1, that's...
Oh, no, that is very interesting code name.
Yeah.
Mobile numbats.
Remember the 20.04?
Yeah, focal fuse.
And what was the last? Bionic Beaver.
Bionic Beaver, yeah.
That was that's where Ubuntu-Linux Tutorials started with Bionic Beaver.
Remember when we had to do that upgrade to 20.04?
I vaguely remember. Vague.
It was low key kind of difficult to just upgrade Ubuntu.
My goodness.
Because a lot of the stuff from Bionic Beaver remained on your system, your old system.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But we did get it to update eventually.
And what about now?
Updating for like
yeah.
Well, I believe if you haven't updated to 24.04, but a lot of users are maybe some are still using 20.04. But I believe more people are using 22. Which came out 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, on the Ubuntu-Linux Tutorials channel, we haven't covered 22.04, so it's kind of a sudden jump.
Yeah, it is.
And it looks like with GNOME, with this package bundle, it's also installing Xorg and the X server, so I don't think we have to do that.
That's nice.
And for those who do not know, Xorg, or the X server, is basically, it's the Linux, I guess you could say, the Linux, the program that makes it work. It basically starts up your graphical user interface. So, like, if you log on to Linux and you go to a desktop, X is most likely running in the background.
I have a question. Do you know if Ubuntu supports Wayland?
Ubuntu probably supports Wayland, but you just have to configure it. But Wayland is also another, basically this, another program that allows for GUI interface. but for today's purpose, we'll just be using Xorg, as is probably the easiest.
And the classic.
And the classic. I've never used Wayland. I don't have any experience with it.
Little story with Wayland.
You've used it?
It does not work well with NVIDIA GPUs at all.
Oh, well, that makes me want to avoid it even more.
Yep, Xorg for life.
Guess so. It's also installing Wayland, which is interesting. I guess for both purposes, but you can just use Xorg.
Xorg. Oh, and cups.
It's setting up LibreOffice right now, and it's just running post-processing triggers. Adding new users for certain packages.
So I have a question. With the GUI applications, are you able to add shortcuts to them on your Windows desktop and use them natively alongside your Windows applications?
Yes. So if I look here, switch back to my my screen share. If it loads, okay. So if I want to launch gedit, for example, which is graphical, basically Notepad on Linux, I can just type in gedit, and here it is.
That's instantaneous.
This is gedit, and this is a Linux application.
So
and then I could just this is basically Notepad. See, if I want to save as, then here it is. This is all Linux. Like mount, and then this is so yeah, Linux.
Would there be any benefits of using a Linux version of an application opposed to its Windows version?
I do not see the point of doing that. One of the reasons why is audio support on WSL is probably kind of bad, because here, let me see, and let me start up the XRDP service, and I'll show you By the way, okay, here's GNOME.
Sweet.
But playback unfortunately does not work.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm assuming that if video playback doesn't work, then audio doesn't work either. So I really wouldn't recommend you use, if there is a Windows version of an application you want, just use that. I wouldn't recommend using the Linux version because I don't see the point. Now, to launch it, well, you can't just launch it right now because it needs a display. X needs to detect a display, and basically it cannot detect one right now. So we need to install this package called XRDP.
Here we go.
Okay. Creating some symlinks for systemd. You could start the XRDP service because I don't know how your system will react.
Okay.
And you could just run this command sudo systemctl start XRDP.
Alright, let's run it.
And then now the XRDP daemon is started. So to go into your Ubuntu system, we're gonna need to use Windows Remote Desktop Connection.
Alright, so are we just creating like a virtual display to mount into?
Basically, so we can actually see what's inside.
Ah, okay.
So to connect to the Linux computer, I think you could just type in localhost port 3390. If it doesn't even establish a connection, then we're gonna have to do some XRDP configurations. If you ever struggle with applications, honestly just go onto forums, just Google search. The first thing you're gonna want to do is probably change all the ports to 3390.
So aside from that, are we able to remote into this virtual Linux container via another machine on the network?
Possibly. I think that will work, but I haven't tried it, so I don't know if it will, but I believe you can.
It's not bad.
It's like SSHing pretty much.
Yeah.
Now nano back into the INI. Okay. Try it again.
Try it out. Oh my goodness.
Oh, there we go. Ah!
Wow. And this is using.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so with Arch Linux for y'all, you have to do way more configuration because Arch Linux is so picky because it's such a do-it-yourself distro.
Oh my gosh.
I spent like 2 hours trying to configure it, but I guess with this, it just worked.
So now you know what we should install?
Oh, HTOP!
HTOP!
I did that. HTOP is like needed unless it's already pre-installed. And by the way, it's completely normal that the RAM usage is part of your total RAM usage. So in my case, I have 32 gigabytes of RAM in my system, so WSL allocated 16 gigabytes of that RAM.
Oh, so is this like a little container we have?
Basically. So if I run HTOP on Arch, go back to my system for everyone to see.
Wow. And you said you have 32 gigs.
Yeah, so it just uses basically half of it. But it just depends on your system,
Okay.
how WSL allocates memory. I
Okay.
think you can change it though, but I don't feel the need to change
Ubuntu is, unfortunately, incredibly laggy.
it. You know what? You know what you should install? Control-C, sudo apt install gedit. It's a good text editor.
GX. And I could open this outside of the container.
Yes.
I pressed Y 2 seconds ago. Oh my gosh. You know, I'm thinking more, could this be a latency issue?
How bad is the latency?
Not the best right now. Like,
It might just, because for me the latency is bearable. I mean, it's not the smoothest experience. Obviously not.
Yeah.
But it's bearable for me. And you know what? As tradition, we need to install Calce, Figlet, and Toilet.
Oh, how could I forget?
So let me just... I don't even have it in my own system. To install package on Arch, you're just gonna run sudo package-s. And then -s basically means sync, but it's basically the way you install packages. And then we're just gonna install Calce, Figlets, and Toilet. And why? And now I should have them.
Calce. Figlet.
Subscribe, Calce, hello. That is interesting. Hold on, let me Figlet just a character. Oh, okay.
Toilet. Skippity toilet. I didn't even know. I remember how I discovered toilet. I just was bored and I put sudo apt install toilet, and I was like, what if this works like Figlet? Oh, it does. That is it. That is the end of today's Ubuntu-Linux Tutorials video.
Be sure to like and subscribe for future Ubuntu-Linux content.
Yep, featuring YoVariable and Rhapsody_MDR.
The comeback of this channel.
Yep. Adios.
Adios, people.